recording. All right, welcome back to Rockstar 101. His name is Brandon. He's the DJ.
His name is Shim. He's the Rockstar. Class is in session.
It's finally
for apparently
in
a lot
session.
Of things.
Jesus
As,
Christ.
As we're trying to figure out this whole this internet thing, it's like we get it working, and then the second it needs to go live, bam, everything decides to crap out on us. So, we're recording this, posting it.
We were talking about the Tiger King. That's where we left off. What are your opinions?
Yeah, we really didn't get that much into it. I mean, you were kind of saying that out of all the dirtbags, Joe Exotic was maybe the least dirtbaggiest of all.
Yeah, and I think that's why they got to put him away, man, because he was the most easily manipulated, which is ironic because he's very manipulative, but compared to all these other people around him, he's the patsy, man. And I don't know why they thought he wouldn't roll on them. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to roll, man.
Well, yeah. One of the most interesting things I found was when he was running for governor of Oklahoma, they showed a statistic that made it look like 19% of the population voted for him.
Right.
That's not the case. Because I was flipping Buzz some crap because Buzz was born he grew up in Oklahoma.
Right.
So he's from Oklahoma, and he was always very adamant. None of these people are from Oklahoma. He's from Kansas. He just moved to Oklahoma. Like, it's like bringing down the state pride that Joe Exotic could have possibly been born in Oklahoma. So he was very adamant about that. But when you look into it more, it wasn't 19% of all votes for the gubernatorial race in Oklahoma. It was 19% of the third party primary. So if you just want to think of the numbers, it was like 600 total people voted for him in the entire state. Like, that's what it was.
Right.
But the stat that they put up on the screen made it look like 19%.
Yeah. Is that on the news? That was the one they put up on the news, right?
Yeah.
Well, that leads to a very interesting topic, which is how much of these coronavirus numbers, you're hearing different numbers, and of course you're hearing all the fucking different numbers on Facebook, right? You're only hearing one set of numbers from each news station, but I don't
go to Facebook for news at all.
No, not news. I'm not talking about actual news. Like, if you want to figure out, like, I go and watch the news every morning and every evening in Australia on Australian news on what's happening in my country, and then I go and I talk, and I don't watch the news from America that's sent to Australia. I talk to my friends in America. I call my friends in America and I say, what have you seen? What's happening? What are they reporting in your country? Because the news that's in America, most of we're getting the sizzle reel, right? We're getting the sizzle. We're getting Donald Trump was interjected by the doctor who clarified or corrected his information, and like, oh, well, that's great news, you know. But at the end of the day, they in Australia, they talk about what did Trump fuck up this time today, financials, what's the state of the financial situation of America in relation to every other country in the world and the global financial crisis that's currently occurring, and that's about it. But like San Francisco on lockdown, LA's on lockdown, but Oklahoma's not, or wherever you're living that isn't on lockdown. Like, there's certain states that are still not on lockdown. They haven't really mentioned that much unless you go to like deep midnight ABC television where they're like, oh yeah, here's what's really happening in America. And like, I just call my friends. So why don't you tell me what's happening when you're part of the neck of the woods?
Well, because the interesting thing is something that happened last week was we had the governor of Georgia, and he came out, it was either Thursday or Friday, because the state of Georgia didn't have any sort of lockdown or quarantine or kind of social distancing. It didn't have any of that stuff. Right. And then all of a sudden he comes out on Thursday and he's like, so I didn't know that you could be asymptomatic and still pass on the virus. Like, he didn't know this. Oh my God. And when we were talking about this on the morning show, we were like, holy crap. Like, that's one of the first things we learned about this that's what makes it so scary is the fact that you showed no symptoms, but you can still pass it on. Like, that was one of the first things that we found out. So that's the kind of crap that we were still dealing with. We're still dealing with the president just talking out of his ass constantly. He brags about his ratings for his press conferences, by the way, because that's what needs to be focused on.
Yeah, I heard about that.
One of the interesting things, too, is he keeps throwing shade at Obama, but he's been in office now for almost a full term. Trump has been in office for over 3 years now.
Yeah.
So at what So at what point do you actually take over and do your job and stop blaming the person in front of you? And this doesn't have anything to do with Republican/Democratic politics. This just has to do with shut up and do your job and stop blaming somebody else.
I mean,
but he's never going to do
is he blaming circumstances in the coronavirus? And this is interesting to talk about for us. For anyone who's watching who knows this stuff in America, it is interesting, and please stay tuned because there's a lot of people who are watching from Australia that don't know a lot of this information, which is why it's very relevant to talk about. And we're also going to talk about some of the things that are happening in Australia that you guys wouldn't know about in the States. So even though you may know what Brandon's talking about, please stay tuned for his stuff on the other side of the pond. But is he actually blaming what's happening now with his fuck-ups on the coronavirus pandemic to Obama? Like, oh, well, this wouldn't happen if Obama had done what?
Well, kind of. So there's one thing that happened, and it had to do with, I think it was after the 2009 pandemic. Obama didn't properly replenish the mask supply, which is one of the reasons why we're hurting for masks now, because they didn't try to counteract that or whatever. And when they depleted the supply, they didn't replenish the supply afterwards. That was 11 years ago. And it's like, dude, you're still blaming this guy for something that happened 11 years ago. And on top of that, you've been in office for 3 years, and the pandemic response team was basically disbanded under you.
Yeah.
And there's so much of it doesn't make sense. And I find it funny because the way that it gets now, and again, this isn't anything, it's not Republicans versus Democrats in the sense that I'm going to only make fun of Republicans. Democrats are definitely, there's a lot of them that have just blown a bunch of crap, but he's the top guy. Trump is. So that's kind of what you got to look at. Yeah. And for me, it's more of a sense of watching everybody on Facebook, and it's no longer anything to do with, hey, we need to come to the right solutions and figure this thing out. It's, well, deep down, I know my guy made a mistake, but now we got to find out how they made a mistake to make them look bad too. And it's like not solving anything.
Yeah, dude. It's got to be frustrating for you guys because it seems like it's ironic that you guys are called the United States of America when the states.
We're divided.
It's like if you wrote down if it was in a novel what happened in the 2016 election. You go, we thought we were United States. Oh, it turns out we're really divided. Significant members of the community, like the African American community, came out after the election and were like, yeah, we knew this before. You whiteys are just catching up. Like, we are not where you think we are. You guys are fucking delusional. And then now, it's like now it's not just written in a book of like, oh, this is a thing that happened. It's real time, real consequences of the fact that if, for example, in Australia, okay, in Australia we have the premiers and they're not called governors, they're called the premier of the state, right? The state premiers are for Queensland, like use New South Wales and Queensland, right? So they have a border, they're right next to each other, they've got a border, and they're basically shut down. They're shutting down their borders. You can't get into the Queensland unless you have a Queensland license plate or you have a certificate that says that you're going over to do an essential service or whatever, or if you're visiting family or certain things. But basically, like, you can't get in if you're going up there to surf, for Surfers Paradise or whatever, right? Can't go up for a holiday. And they've gone on the news and they have said, like, the premier or someone from the government who's top shelf, she got up on the news and just said, straight up, she said, cancel your plans. Do not come here. Do not come here for a holiday. Do not come here unless you are visiting or you're planning to come here to stay with relatives for lockdown, to take care of someone. That's it. Do not, she was like, stay the hell away. Like, we are done. We are like, because people were just like, hey, it's vacation. I'm fired from work. I'm going to go on a holiday. Everyone started going up to Surfers Paradise if they could afford it and having a little holiday. And she just threw this, but she just locked the place down. And they're doing that. And the states are communicating with each other and saying, number one, they're communicating. That's the first thing. They are communicating about what each state is doing and how each state's choices are relevant to the other states. And then there's the prime minister who's overseeing everything and ultimately doing a pretty decent job considering the circumstances. Then you've got just the, not talking about the president, not talking about the politics of the stuff, but you have the fact that the United States are not on lockdown. You can go from any state that's not on lockdown and drive straight into California, and then suddenly you will be on. You can't go in. You can't go in.
Not anymore. No, not necessarily. They're finally starting to put restrictions on that stuff. It's making it so that at least so in the city that I live in, which is El Paso, Texas, and we're right on the border with New Mexico and right on the border with Mexico, they're limiting it now that if you travel over 100 miles, you have to self-quarantine when you get back. Now, granted, this like they're basing a lot of this on the honor system.
Yeah,
like they're basing this on like, oh, you're going to do this, and then when you look around, you're like. When this thing first kicked in, it was about a week ago. They were saying, hey, we don't mind if you go to the parks. We don't mind if you guys are out in public. Just please keep social distancing and don't be in large crowds.
Right.
Stay off of the playground equipment. And like don't go play a pickup game of basketball.
Right.
Thinking people would actually follow these guidelines. They didn't at all. Every day I would drive home from work, there's a basketball court and a park right across the street from my house.
Right.
Every single day, there's parents out there with their kids, and there's like 10 people on the basketball court playing basketball.
Yeah, and they're all...
So finally, last week, they said, okay, we need to actually make a law, or not law, but like really crack down on this. So they've now said, just stay home, like get the hell away.
Yeah.
And so they've closed them. And if you're found in the parks, basically you're up for $1,000 fine.
Yeah, they started doing that stuff 3 weeks ago, I want to say. 3 weeks ago in Australia. And it's funny because we like, just a sidebar, for anyone who's wondering, okay? I was, and this is why it's good to tune into this, because I'm not going to be talking about this on any of the lockdown sessions, live streams that I do on my channel. I was 2 days away from flying over to LA to go and meet Brandon to go and see Rage Against the Machine, right?
Yep.
And I got a call from Brandon, or a text or a call that was like, hey man, are you still coming? And it was 2 days before I was supposed to fly, and I was like, yeah, what's up? And I knew that the coronavirus was happening. I will admit, I was one of those people that was like, we didn't know any information. We didn't know that it was this serious. We knew that there was a new virus going around. It was being related to the flu. My wife was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't go. And I said, hey man, look, I've got a bunch of stuff. Number one, at the end of the day, I'm not missing Rage Against the Machine. I also have a bunch of meetings booked. I can handle if I get sick for a few days. I'll just deal with being sick, because at the time I was only concerned about me. I didn't realize at that point it was like, hey, there's a virus, but we don't know that it's going to be a thing where you're endangering other people by possibly being exposed to this, and it's a pandemic. That morning, so this was 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave. Then 2 days before I was supposed to actually get on the plane, Brandon hits me up. You still coming? I said, yeah, why? What's up? He says, check your phone. You obviously haven't heard. And it's like, basketball shut down, football shut down. They're talking about shutting down the bars. And I was like, whoa. And I was in the same position that everyone else is in, where they were like, wait a minute. We thought this was just like, hopefully don't try and get sick. It's a pretty serious flu. And then suddenly it turned into, nope, here's the new information and we're shutting shit down. And within like an hour, I called a few people and they were like, yeah, man, sorry, they're sending us home. And I was like,
everything's being canceled.
Okay, I'm not going. I freaked out. Within an hour, I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? So that's how close I came to being. I would be doing this podcast live. I would have been at Brandon's place on lockdown for God knows how many months with you guys, because you guys can't fly back to Australia now.
And we probably would have been able to actually stream it live, because it would have just been one internet connection.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with the COVID-19 stuff, and we'll do updates on this, because I mean it's a fluid situation. It's constantly changing. So
right. Well, let me tell you a funny thing, right? This is the difference between the Prime Minister and Trump.
Yeah.
When we gave that warning, right? We did the honor system. It was 3 weeks ago, and we said everyone needs to stay at home. We're making a plan for non-essential workers. It's not a law yet. It's not being imposed. Please stay home.
A
Guideline. That weekend, it was national news, and I think it went international to a degree. They were like, the Bondi Beach, the most famous beach in Australia that's in all the movies, was just chock-a-block with people. You couldn't move. There were so many fucking people. Thousands of people on the beach. They thought it was a fucking holiday. And they were all 18 to 28-year-olds, right? All the young ones that, number one, they're young and stupid, but more importantly, they had heard that the virus attacks old people and young people are fine. So they were like, well, we don't have to give a shit, blah, blah, blah. And they went and did news articles where the number one thing was, well, we're fine because if we get sick, we'll get better. And number two, other people who were drinking and partying were like, oh, if we die, we die. So that they were like, here's the thing. Trump came out and was like, with the American stuff, he's been from what I can gather, he's been predominantly like we're taking care of things, but we need to take care of our economy, and we're not just going to. America is not closed for business, I think was one of his things. We're still open for business. We're not closing down. Like everyone's going to have their jobs, and he's trying to figure out how to be like, well, we'll close this, but we'll keep that open. And he's really worried about the economy. The Prime Minister came out and literally got on the podium and said, "Stop it." He pointed his finger. He was like, "This is enough. This is un-Australian. You were warned." And he was like, it's very disappointing to everyone. He was like a dad. He came out and dadded the whole nation. I mean, and he was like,
if you don't want to be treated like a child, stop acting like a goddamn child.
He went. There was that, and then there was the hoarding. There was images that had come out of people that were getting in fights over toilet paper, and he just came out and he said, "Enough. Stop it."
Which is the stupidest thing on the planet, by the way. Toilet paper doesn't save you from COVID-19. It doesn't save you from the coronavirus. No. It doesn't save you from anything other than a dirty ass, which you can still wipe with other things. Or guess what?
Take a shower.
Take a shower.
Yeah. I know. You and me against the world. So
irritating.
But I thought that was hilarious. He came out, and people in Australia have just been like, that's one of the things that Australians are well known for. You know, before this went down, you say, "Oh, I love going to Australia. Everyone's really laid back. They're really down to earth. They're really straightforward." And that's pretty much it. It's like there's a problem going on, and just stay in your house. It's like it's really just come on, mate. Everyone else is doing it. What is your problem? Just stay inside. Just get on the telly. Have a break. We're going to give you a little bit of money to just keep you going for a little bit till we figure this out. Everything's chukkers. Everything's kosher. Everything's sweet.
Chukkers?
Sweet as.
What's that?
Chukkers is like good luck. Chukkers is it's a mix between like good luck and good on ya. And
so it's chukkers.
Chukkers, yeah.
Chukkers. I'm gonna have to use that.
So it's actually a theater term. Like if they say break a leg, I know it's weird. Like they say break a leg in Australia. In Australia, it's bad luck. We just say chukkers. Chukkers, good luck and good on you. Good job before you've even done anything. Good pat on the back. Good stuff, mate. You know, just like no one's better than anyone else. Tall poppy, chukkers, all good. Anyway,
tall poppy.
Yeah, tall poppy. But that's it. That's how Australia's kind of been handling it. There's been very serious stuff when it comes down to it, and the rest of the time, and we've been very fortunate, very, very fortunate. And so I look at that. The only thing we have to complain about predominantly as a nation is the fucking internet connection.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, cause that's the way that it is here too. I think it's going to be like that most everywhere because everybody is stuck at home. So we're to the point now. I mean, we are into week 3, I think, because it was really spring break was the first week. We weren't told to be home, but you kind of did. My birthday was during that week, right. And I told my wife, I was like, "Look, we're not going anywhere. Like we can't." Like we were planning on going to the mall, and I'm like, look, they're shutting the malls down. They've shut down the clubs. They've shut down the bars. They're going to be shutting down the malls. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. Now, here's what sucks.
Oh, here we go.
She was planning the surprise party at that time and needed to get me the hell out of the house. So she's trying to figure it out. And I was such a pain in the ass to her. Like I'm like, no, we're not going anywhere. Like I got Mopey McGee where I'm all, no, it's fine. So I'm watching Dropkick Murphys because they performed live on YouTube and I was perfectly content. So I'm watching Dropkick Murphys. I had a Jameson, neat, just sitting there chilling on the couch. And she was like, look, she goes, we're going to go to my mom's house. We're just going to visit for a few minutes just to get the hell out of the house. She goes, you can keep drinking if you want. I'll drive. Just take your glass with you, and we'll head on over there. So eventually we did, and then they had like a whole big surprise party for me and everything.
Did you nearly get into a fight with your wife? Did you nearly be like, why the fuck are you making me get up and do this? I'm watching the Dropkick Murphys. Why are you...
No, I didn't get... It didn't get to that level. Like, it didn't get there. But then we did that, and that's pretty much the last thing that we've done.
Well, that's pretty good.
Really outside of the house.
I mean, at this point, I did was go and pick up soil for the backyard. I mean, you got a party. I've been landscaping on the bloody weekends to make as much space for the kids. Yeah, it was literally like we had to change all plans. It was my 40th damn birthday, and everything got whittled down. Oh, thank you, buddy. Yeah.
So anyway, so
hold on, let's take a sidebar. You were talking about, because this leads us into the next thing that I wanted to talk about with us. You had something that happened with your kid due to the lockdown where like some shit got heated, or there was like, how are you dealing with having the kids in the house the whole fucking time?
Well, one of the things that I did is I went and I got a Wii U because I'm trying to think of like what can we do in the house to keep everybody occupied.
Smart, yeah.
I mean, we're going on walks with the dogs. We're trying to play as much as possible and do all of these different things. So I jumped online like that weekend after, just trying to figure it out. And I even went to GameStop to try to pick something up, but that's when they had already started to like shut the stores. You had to order online and then just go pick it up, and that's the way it is everywhere now, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like you still can go into Walmart or Albertsons or places like that, but it was GameStop. So I went and picked up the Wii, and thinking like that's a nice family system with easy games that are kind of quick. People can pick up on. So the game that it came with was Mario Kart 8, and the kid started to do a lot better. She constantly like she's 8, so it's not coming super fast or anything. But then all of a sudden yesterday I was doing something else. She's playing with my wife, and the kid's talking shit. She's like, "Oh, you like that? Green shell," and like just flying by people, and she's talking shit. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, you better be careful, kiddo. I'm like, I don't mind if you talk it, but you better be able to take it when you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And she can't take it. She can't take it. So I think she got a quick lesson.
Did you throw it down? Did you start kicking her ass and you threw a couple down and she took it like a bitch? She couldn't handle it?
Oh, I take first place every time. Now I don't necessarily talk trash, but
But did you a little
I'll laugh when I pass her. No. That's me. But no, I just thought it was really funny how quickly she picked up on that, where she's like, "Oh yeah, you like that?" Like
Yeah, I know. I don't know where they get this stuff, man. I find myself catching all the dad quotes now. My kids are young. But I keep hearing myself being like, "Oh, remember the days," and all this sort of stuff. Like one of the first songs that we did for the lockdown sessions was, "Hey, by the way, do you realize I can see you? I can see that you're not paying attention to me, bro."
Yeah, well, my family's outside right now, so I want to shut that, but I don't.
Okay, cool, good. So we're
sorry.
Back. Okay, cool. No, it's the first time we've done video.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So I don't know what the hell I was talking about, but shut the fuck you.
You're talking about the first song of the lockdown.
No, the first time of the lockdown sessions was specifically.
See, I was listening.
Yeah. And I don't know why I was talking about it, but we have. I don't know how I'm going to be dealing with the kids right now. It's really actually quite enjoyable in a way. There's a lot of times where I know there's a lot of people that have said, "Oh, we're getting more quality time with our kids," but there is a meme that's going around. Tiger King, back to the Tiger King, talking about how. At 9 o'clock, it's, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. And by 9:05, it's like, hey, motherfuckers.
Guess what, motherfucker? Yeah. I love that one. That one makes me laugh every damn time. It's hilarious.
My camera just connected. Can you see me? Can you see me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
All right, let's see what's going on with this. And I will switch it up to my other camera for a second. This is it. Everyone ready? Everyone watching? Everyone ready for what is about to be some significant hackage? By going, boom, done. There it is, fixed. That's how good I am at this shit.
All the writing on the top. There you go.
There you go. What? All right, so now we're back to this. Oh, damn, dude. So this is how bad. I don't even know. I think my internet just totally took a dump. That camera, I've got my iPhone hacked to be part of that. So that's how I'm. Is it back? Is it back?
Yeah, I can see you just fine.
Yeah, good. And so I basically have got I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Keep talking while I fix this shit. Tell me something. Tell me something.
Well, we were talking about the memes and stuff. So I actually, it's really, I have a question for you because I've got friends, like we've got one kid, but I have friends who have multiple kids, and I hear people frequently saying, "Oh, that's got to be good for you because they'll keep each other entertained. They'll keep each other so that they'll actually kind of play, and you don't have to worry about them all the time." And every single parent's like, nothing. Yeah. All it does is create fights. Yeah. All they do is hate each other and yell and scream, and that's it.
Yep. Do you let your kid cry? Because I let my kids cry. I swear to God.
About what?
Anything. If they hurt themselves legitimately, obviously not. If they're taking a toy, like I got a thing with my girl's 2.5 years old, 2.5, 3 years older than my boy. And my boy likes to take stuff off her just because she's playing with it. Totally normal.
Well, of course.
She's playing with something, mine. And then after
he wants it because she's playing.
I said, cool. take it, and luckily my wife backs this up. My wife's not a fucking punk bitch. She's hardcore when it comes to throwing down. So she's like, and because she's one. My wife is one of these women who is not about equal rights for women in terms of, oh, we're gonna go. She's just like, I'm just gonna do my job and get mine. Like, if there's a woman, like, there's nothing that's gonna stand. Like, no one's gonna push me around, and no one's gonna tell me this and that. And if someone decides they're not gonna pay me as much as this guy, I'm out. I'll go and start my own thing and get what I deserve. Like, she doesn't it's not in her head. So now she's putting that into our kid, which I think is great. So she just says, like, Mel, go and take it out of his hand, tell him no, and then watch him cry. And let him know that it doesn't matter how much he cries, he can't take things off you. Don't just take it and just take it off him and stand your ground and say, no, this is mine. And then when he starts to cry, because he's 2, he's going to cry, oh, it's mine. He's 2. That's what he's supposed to do. The problem isn't that he's taking it and then crying. He's 2. He's supposed to do that. She's 5.5. She's supposed to learn now how to go, that's mine. Don't fuck with me. And so she politely goes up and she goes, no, that's mine, Max. Don't take it off me. She takes it back. He cries, and then she watches for a second and goes, yeah, no, I'm not going to let this bother me, and then goes and does it. And so, like, we're in the but that is happening at such a highly concentrated rate now, because she doesn't get to go to preschool, and he doesn't get to go to playgroup or nap time. Like, it's all fucking 24/7, and the days seem to be going quick. Are the days going quick for you? Because for me, I wake up and it's like, I'm doing stuff. If I'm not doing this, I'm doing that. I'm doing this. I'm working from home. I'm recording music. It's like something bangs outside. They're playing outside. You can probably hear them right now. Like, normally I structure my shit between my other shit, and instead it's just like we're going 100% of the time. Before you know it, it's 9:30 at night, and it's like, okay, we got the time for one episode of the Tiger King.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like, I'm different because I do leave daily. Because I do still go to work Monday through Friday. Like, we're there. I get there at 4 a.m., but I'm done at 10. Whereas before, normal work day, you stick around for a few hours and you get your work done there in the office. But what we've been told now is just when you're done, get out, go home.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, is we're getting the hell out of there. And then I come home and I work, and I've got other things that I'm working on and other things that I'm doing. And my wife, she's working on her schoolwork and stuff like that. And so, but she's even more cooped up because she got laid off last week. So she was unfortunately one of those people who just, she's a physical therapist. There weren't patients. So if there's no patients, you can't go work. Yeah, so she's just like kind of, I guess, been furloughed, I think would probably be the best way. Isn't that where it's like the temporary kind of, hey, we don't have work for you now. So
I guess so, yeah. Yeah,
so she's even more cooped up, and she hates being inside, man. Fucking hates it. So like, we've had some pretty fucking epic fights, I'll tell you that, just because it's like, oh my God. But we know, but that's the thing. But we know. So like, we have the blow up, and I think even in the back of our minds while we're arguing, we know, like, hey, this is like a result of the circumstances, not really what we're yelling about. And then within 5 minutes, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I yelled at you, or sorry, I jumped down your throat about this, or sorry, I was complaining about this, or whatever the case may be. And it's the same thing from her, and we're like, yeah, because we know it's the circumstance.
Yeah, you got some quarantine head going on. I get it. Yeah.
And you just want to be like, I don't want to fucking work
and that's the thing. Everyone's in the same boat. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to start the lockdown sessions, because I was like, one of the things that I was going to do when I came over to see you, for the 2 weeks around the show, I booked songwriting sessions, and I was really looking forward to going and seeing my old friends and cutting some songs and doing my thing. And now everything's canceled.
And it's all shut down.
It's all shut down. And a lot of people who are songwriters, they're like, well, I mean, they'll write their new record and they can do stuff remotely. You can do it. But I was like, well, I mean, I'd much rather just, like, I'm going to be interacting with my fans anyway. I'm surprised no one else has thought of it so far, to be like, let's write songs with the fans. They're doing live streams of their shows and their songs, but I'm like, okay, I'll do that later as well. But like, I can only do that a couple times. Like, what can I do every few days where it keeps me gives me something to look forward to and keeps me motivated to keep doing stuff. Now, I've lost your video feed. This is so good. I love this. This is going to be documented, right? We're going to have this on my Facebook and the YouTube and everything. And it's just going to be like, hey, episode 1 of Rockstar 1 shuts down 2 minutes in, and then glitch for the whole fucking...
Is it still out? Can you hear me at all?
It's back now.
Okay.
So...
yeah, because my end froze. Like, it just froze on you. So hopefully it's back now. But no, I know what you're saying. Like, we had plans, like we were going to do stuff. You're going to be in town. We're going to go
Yeah.
see Rage Against the Machine.
Everyone had plans, man.
And
And God's laughing.
my phone sent me the reminder because I got my calendar linked up to your account. So on that day, on March 28th at like noon, it was like, hey, here's a reminder that you've got Rage Against the Machine tonight. And I was like, I do not. You are making me feel bad, phone, and I'm going to throw you if you don't go away.
Fucking hell, man. My thing is, it didn't occur to me until, I swear, it didn't occur to me until I got the reminder. The flight from LA to El Paso, I bought the cheapest seats that I could find because I was like, I've spent so much money on these Rage tickets, and I'm staying with Brandon, and I'm cutting costs everywhere I can. So I was like, $220 for a return flight from LA to El Paso, no insurance, no cancellation option, nothing. And no bags. And I was like, I'll just go with a backpack for 2 days and be stoked. And I got the reminder. It's like, you're flying from LA to El Paso. Are you ready to check in?
No,
I was like, you didn't get the memo, bitch. The computer. I'm getting computer notifications from companies that are like, are you ready for this thing you signed up for 2 months ago? No, you forgot that it's canceled, and you forgot to fucking check your mail out reminder things, your auto responses. Like, yeah. This is some interesting, unprecedented stuff. Like, I constantly go through how grateful I am that I'm where I am, and how fortunate I am that I'm with my family, with my job, with where I live. You know, I think a lot of people are getting to the point where they're starting to realize how grateful they are that, I'm lucky, I'm locked inside, and I'm healthy, and I have food. Like, that's it.
Like, I mean, you know, I went to the grocery store this morning. It wasn't bad. There wasn't a ton of people there. There were some of the shelves that were just completely gutted, which, you know, that happens.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we're just kind of thinking about the situation that we're in, you know, with the wife getting laid off. But the interesting thing is, since I've known her and we really got serious, we've had discussions about, hey, what about, you know, like her going to part-time hours rather than working, you know, anywhere from 32 to 36 hours a week. What if she were to really cut back? Right. And I'm like, well, I don't know. We'd have to look at the bills, and we'd have to look and see if we could actually afford that or not. Yeah. And now we're kind of being forced to do that. So we're taking a look, and we're looking to see if we can work. And I think, you know, we're going to be fine. I mean, thankfully, knock on wood, you know, radio and media is something that we're going to need to get the word out there. And as of right now, the whole show is there every day, Monday through Friday. Buzz is there, Lisa's there, Joanna's there, I'm there. But we do have backup plans in place. Like, right. God forbid, if anybody in that building comes down with COVID-19, nobody's allowed in the building for at least 9 hours.
Right.
And then that's it. So we've all had to ensure that we can broadcast from our homes to continue to broadcast the show. And the furthest backup plan at this point, like if everything, worst case scenario, it's me from this little room here broadcasting the show from here.
Awesome right now, by the way.
I know.
Yes. So that's it. That's the backup plan.
Pretty much. Okay. This room. Right here.
This is where El Paso will be getting its
So we have some other things planned this week. This is going to sound completely stupid, but like my mom bought me a vacuum because my old one broke. And so the vacuum got delivered on Friday, and there's these big boxes. There's 3 big boxes that it came with. So we were going to build a fort. You know, I'm going to take that cardboard, and we're going to try to build a fort and do something cool with it just to occupy the damn time. Yeah. What are you saying? I can't hear
you. What do you mean you can't hear me? Did I drop out?
No, like you're whispering.
No, I was thinking about what I was going to say to you next based off what you were saying, and then I realized I can't talk because it'll cut you off. It's Rockstar 101's first official video. Is it a vlog, or what the fuck is it? You know those floorboards that you can put together and click in?
Yeah.
We had extra ones. We put them together, and I glued them so that the kids had a section in the backyard that they could. It's basically a painting station. So it's like a wood wall that we're propping up against the shed, and then we can hang stuff. They can paint the wall. They can paint paper off the wall. So they have something like people are becoming quite inventive with the shit that they can do because
you have to be.
You have to be, and like, can you imagine? Everyone knows Netflix is going through the roof. Toys, people are ordering so many more toys to be delivered to their house at the moment for their kids because they're like, well, we can't take them out anymore.
Dude, I've bought. So far, I've gotten I bought.
You bought?
I got the Wii U, and I've got 3 other controllers just to make sure everybody's got a controller.
Dude,
I think 6 games at this
I
point.
think that people are you know what you should do, and everyone should do this right now. Like this is just an idea. This is not financial advice from Rockstar 101, but I know there's some stuff that I have that I don't use anymore that is really expensive right now because you can't import it. And I was like, oh well, I didn't even consider selling it at any point, but I'm like, oh, I'll sell this now. It's worth more money. And people need it. I'll be like, cool, I'll sell it and get a little more money for what, you know, I'm not, I remember eBay is actually doing a thing where they're like, we're stopping price gouging on toilet paper. People are selling toilet paper for like $100 for 6. So I was like, I'm not going to fucking gouge people, but like, someone's looking for like whatever their thing is to interface their music into their computer because they can't, like, shit is shut down. Whatever you have is what you have. That's why, like, the technical, like, I'm figuring out how to live stream and do all this stuff, and I'm just doing it with what I have available. I haven't really bought any new things. I've bought a couple of things, and of course, they haven't arrived yet. And so, like, but that's it. That's how it's working out. So,
all right. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap up this episode of Rockstar 101 because
I'm sick of your face. I mean, I have your face right in front of me. It's really, I don't, All right. So yeah, wrap it up, Brandon. This is it. Everyone thinks he sounds so professional on the radio. They think he's like, welcome back to Rockstar 101. Here we are at KLAQ El Paso. Here's the latest in the news. Donald Trump. And and your voice.
There's times to play and there's times to be professional, Shim. I'm telling you right now. And if anything goes wrong, it's that goddamn Carol Baskin.
That's actually pretty good, man. I want to do next Rockstar 101. I'm going to interview the Tiger King live on Rockstar 101.
So if anybody has anything for us, Shim, obviously, this will be posted up on his Facebook page, so you can see it there. I'm going to take this audio, so if you're listening to this as a podcast as well, it's going to be available on all those mediums. If you have any questions for us, you can comment directly on the video, or you can always hit us up on the socials. There's Shim's Facebook page, which is where this video will be. There's Shim on Twitter. It's at Shimmore, SHIMMOORE. You can find me over on Instagram. It is at The Real BrandoIorian. Any kind of questions or anything else that you guys have for us. And I'm hoping now that we've kind of settled into a groove, we've kind of figured this thing out, we'll be able to do at least 2 a week where we can jump on like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. And Shim and I will blast it out and let you guys know when we're going to be doing this stuff. But we'll be doing more, hopefully, coming up here shortly because there ain't nothing else to do, man. We're just sitting at home, baby.
Yep.
Sitting at home, twiddling our thumbs.
And the final thing for everyone to check out before we finish up, most of you already signed up because you hear we're wrapping it up, but Music for Masks is happening. It is the point of the lockdown session. So basically, if you go to musicformasks.com, that's it. I set the whole thing up this week. All the money that we're raising from the lockdown sessions for the music is going to Music for Masks, which is being donated directly to the people in New York City who are the medical staff who need masks and protective gear. So go to that site, musicformasks.com, and just click the donate thing. Get it up to $1,000. The moment that we have $1,000, I'm going to call all my friends from the Hollywood Rebellion, which is basically a little community of musicians where we help each other out. And we're going to record it and make it available and then start getting it out there and getting more people involved and more people donating. So that's that. So go to that website and check it out. And then we'll see you probably in a couple of days on the next Rockstar 101. His name is Brandon. He is the DJ.
His name is Shim. He's the rock star. Class dismissed.